Hi, my name is Fatima Tahira. So I would like to share to you guys about Asian Economic Community. But before that, I would like to share you guys a little bit about Asian. So as you guys know, the Asian is an investment promotions between Asian member states like Malaysia, Indonesia. So if you want to do something like investment between this country, you can get the good opportunity. Okay, so Asian have a great one of program is Asian Economic Community. So what is Asian Economic Community? So the AEC, so the Asian Economic Community, the short form is AEC. The AEC is a realization of the region and goal of economic integrating, and Asian also keep on this integration, this program by 2050. Vast opportunity away investor as Asian strive to achieve the 4 pillar of our integrate economy region. So about these programs, Asian have a vision about this program. So the envision Asians for this program as has a single market and production base, competitive economy regions, and third is equitable economic development, and fourth and last one is a fully integrated region in the global economy. The single market and production base is characterized by free flow of goods, service, and investment, as well as a free flow of capital and skills. About competitive economy regions, they are have a benefit not only investor but not only investor and business but also the consumer. Next is equitable economic development. So the aim to develop not only a big company, is the aim to develop small and medium enterprise through this Asian blueprint for SME development. About integration into global economy, they are aimed for increasing globalizations and become more dynamic and stronger segments of the global supply chain and determine the look beyond the border of AEC. So next is AEC is realized Asian will be characterized by free movement of goods, services, and investments, as well as a free flow of capital and skill. With harmonized trade and investment law, Asian as a rule-based organization will be strengthened and become more interesting as a single investment destination. Initiative towards establishment of AEC can be traced back to as early as 1992, when Asia leaders made it the creation of Asian Free Trade Area (AFTA). In 2003, Asian leaders agreed to build on the momentum and progress gained in AFTA and other efforts to broaden a deepen regional cooperation. AEC have a related agreement, and Asian have signed several agreements to support AEC realization. For all the agreements they have signed, they have agreements aim. So they have aim for this agreement is first thing is facilitate the movement of goods, service, investments, capital and skills, and the second, increase trade, goods and service and investment among member states. That one is a good opportunity if you want to do a trade, you want to do a export import. So that is the good thing, the positive for that agreement. And the third is promote and expand regional productions, sharings and networks. And the last one is promote higher level of transparency and predictability. Last but not least is AEC also have related program to promote investment. Asian launched several projects such as Asian investment website, which is highlight in the viability of region ASEAN Investment Location, the AAC Forums, and the publication Annual Asian Investment Report, among others. And also, AEC have a benefit for this kind of programs is achieve the objective of EC translate to a better investment climate in Asia. And the AEC facilitated the implementation of trade, service, investment, and others necessary of each Asian member state, thereby for improving each other country location offer. At the regional level, the AEC is a critical in developing Asia as a region and making it one of most competitive economic blocks in the world.
The following are some factors, issues, problems, and challenges for the ASEAN community, such as enlargement, regional security, cooperation, economic issues and cooperation, leadership transitions in ASEAN members, and renewal problems in Cambodia. Enlargement. Enlargement has been seen by ASEAN senior leaders as a way of adding to the association's weight and credibility as a grouping able to represent the whole of Southeast Asia. However, enlargement also poses the question of whether ASEAN can accommodate new members with substantial internal political problems and keep the community of interest and cohesion that it has developed over 30 years. Burma's membership has been especially contentious both within and outside ASEAN. The paper provides a concise outline of the costs and benefit which may result from ASEAN's enlargement. Regional security cooperation. ASEAN has faced a complex regional security environment in the 1990s. Chinese economic growth has benefited the whole East Asian region, but its rise in regional prominence has also produced uncertainties, especially in relation to the South China Sea. To contribute positively to post-Cold War security in East Asia, ASEAN has established the ASEAN Regional Forum to engage the Asia-Pacific major powers in dialogue and confidence-building measures. ASEAN now faces the challenge of maintaining its leading role as an organizer of these important focus for security discussions. Economic issues and cooperation. A consistent goal for the ASEAN members has been to maintain their region as an attractive focus for investment and economic growth. The ASEAN region's image of economic confidence has been affected since mid-1997 by the currency stability problems experienced by several countries, especially Thailand, but long-term prospects for continued sustained growth remain favorable. To maximize the gains that can be released from economic relations within their own region, ASEAN is pushing the implementation of the ASEAN Free Trade Area. AFTA is being developed in parallel with the trade and investment liberalization policies of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation (APEC) group, but AFTA is intended to be affected more rapidly. Progress has been made in reducing trade barriers, but ASEAN enlargement could make development of AFTA more complex. Leadership transition in ASEAN's member. ASEAN's internal cohesion may also be affected by the issue of leadership transition and whether ASEAN's emerging leaders will continue to give the development of relationship among members the high priority that has in the past been assigned to this by the group's founders and senior leaders, including President Suharto and Senior Minister Lee Kuan Yew. Renewal problems in Cambodia. ASEAN's most serious immediate challenge has been posed by the violent conflict in Cambodia since early July, which has forced the delay of that country's entry into the association. Since mid-July, ASEAN has sought to mediate in the conflict but has met with resistance from Cambodia's now dominant leader Hun Sen. ASEAN is now emphasizing the importance of the conduct of the scheduled 1998 election in a free and fair manner, but the effort to accept the country as ASEAN's 10th member remains in abeyance.
In the part of parties involved, let's get back to the discussion on cooperation. So in this discussion on cooperation, ASEAN has pursued cooperation in three ways. First, ASEAN in 2003 adopted a commitment to develop an ASEAN community among its own members, which involving these three pillars. So these three pillars is first one is the ASEAN Economic Community. Second one is ASEAN Political Security Community, and the third one, the ASEAN Social Cultural Community. So I would like to highlight the ASEAN Economic Community, which is in our topic. So in the meanwhile, economic cooperation was promoted through three projects, which is AIP, AIC, and PTA. AIP stands for the ASEAN Industrial Project, and AIC stands for the ASEAN Industrial Complementation, and then the PTA, which is ASEAN Preferential Trade Agreement. And yes, as you all know, the type of cooperation, ASEAN is a regional grouping that promotes economic, political, and security cooperation among its 10 members. So the 10 members is Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. So in the area of cooperation, the blueprint identified four pillars of the AEC to create a single market and production base, which is number one, a competitive economic region, which is number two, a region of equitable economic development, which is number three, and then a globally integrated regional economy, which is number four for the four pillars of the AEC. I believe that everyone know that anything being imposed by someone will have the benefit and weakness, and so the ASEAN Economic Community will have its own benefit and weakness to some countries. So let's take a look for the ASEAN Economic Community benefit to some countries. So I would like to give you the two example of the countries, which is Philippines and Cambodia. For the Philippines, ASEAN gives nations within the region to do more trade for goods and services. Tax on imported goods is lowered or even eliminated. It's meaning that cheaper goods and services. So in the case for Cambodia, the kingdom will benefit from the market access as well as the investment from RCEP countries. Furthermore, ASEAN membership helps Cambodia enhance physical connectivity within the region. At the time, Cambodia being able to connect and cooperate with Thailand, they can contribute to the improvement of economic efficiency. Well, as a regional grouping, ASEAN has four major weaknesses. The first one is the tendency to prioritize national over regional interests. They have to do something about it. Second one is weak leadership. Eventually, ASEAN members must develop and learn about how to gain independent leadership, or else other powers might infiltrate and manipulate ASEAN's leadership to their own wishes. So the third one is ineffective bureaucratic structure. To tackle its structural ineffectiveness, ASEAN needs to focus its efforts on the results as much as the process. There should be a supervising body within ASEAN to keep track of what has been achieved so far. And the last one is purely emulating the Western approach. Lastly, to end its penchant for mimicking a Western approach, ASEAN should adapt and localize the values it borrows from the West to better fit its own values, needs, and interests. If it continues to purely adopt free trade agreements under capitalism and interdependent economy, ASEAN shall fall how the West falls. Instead, ASEAN needs to design creative systems that anticipate the fall, enduring independently, creating a market economy and producing economy at the same time. Not just competing economy, but also a complementary one.
Now we move on to the suggestion and recommendation. Number 1 is adopt a community-wide range on 4th Industrial Revolution and digital transformation. Digital transformation and 4th Industrial Revolution are megatrends fast influencing all areas of ASEAN community, going beyond the economic dimension. A comprehensive cross-pillar and community-wide strategy will help ASEAN both seize the opportunities as well as address the challenges presented by digitalization and the 4th Industrial Revolution. Second, coordinated approach enhancing participation in global value chains. The key to enhancing participation in global value chains is successful implementation of the related elements under the different characteristics of the AEC blueprint. Beyond trade facilitation, attention must be given to improving competitiveness, ensuring a competitive service industry, attracting productivity, boosting investment, promoting innovation, developing human capital, and building local ancillary industries. The focus shall be to promote higher value-added participation in global value chains. Third, mainstream good regulatory practices. Regulatory burden and lack of regulatory coherence are more major obstacles in a wide range of AEC initiatives and sectors. To address this obstacle, concerted effort is required. The adoption of the ASEAN Core Principle on Good Regulatory Practice in 2018 is a step in the right direction. Moving forward, a wide commitment to mainstream the ASEAN Core Principles on Good Regulatory Practices into the work of the sectors is critical. This can be supported with guidelines, starting with some key sectors and complemented with capacity building exercises for member states. Fourth, keep ahead of emerging issues through dialogue and cooperation. The AEC should increase efforts to raise understanding and preparedness in addressing these issues, many of which require interdisciplinary conversation and cooperation, such as trade and sustainable development and women's economic empowerment. In-depth strategic analysis on the approaches and options for the region would help inform not only how the region could approach these issues in the context of FTAs but also for ASEAN's own integration work. Fifth, pursue more equitable, inclusive and sustainable development. The fundamental objective of ASEAN economic integration is to improve the well-being of the people through economic opportunities that are more equitable, inclusive, and that accounts for sustainability. The narrowing of the development gap as an objective under the AEC remains to be mainstream in tangible forms beyond specific agenda such as inclusive business and MSME development. The AEC should convene dialogues on how ASEAN economic integration can contribute to the inclusivity and sustainability agenda anchored on the relevant strengths of work in the community. 6. Since the law and regulation in one country cannot be applied to other country and might have difficulties to find solution for a country to solve an issue, we suggest there will be a better political and law system to be set by where any country can use them and apply anywhere. We also found that appropriate public-private partnership program should be held by ASEAN countries to build domestic infrastructure. And the last one, to face common external challenges, the ASEAN countries need to allocate more resources to regional integration and put regional initiatives at par with their domestic agenda. We reach to the last part of this slide, which is conclusion. We conclude that AEC has good opportunities to achieve their goals in the ASEAN investment. However, in order to achieve according to the plan, they have to face any issues or challenges such as enlargement, regional security cooperation, economic issues and cooperation, leadership transition in ASEAN's member, and renewed problem in Cambodia. We also found that the AEC provide benefits to some countries who involved with the ASEAN, such as Philippines, in which the country can enjoy cheaper goods and services. Actually, it is one of the aim for this agreement to increase the trade among the ASEAN nations. That's all. Thank you.